As a former candidate for U.S. Senator from the state of New York, I would like to condemn the actions taken recently in France to attempt to silence the voice and candidacy of party leader Marine Le Pen there, who is now being banned from running for office for 5 years. Today is March 31st, 2025. I'm Diane Sayre, president of the LaRouche organization. And as our Vice President J.D. Vance said recently at the Munich Security Conference, there seems to be an assault on democracy occurring across the European Union. We saw it with Georgescu, the candidate in Romania, who does not want Romania to be a door to war with Russia. He was arrested when he tried to pick up his papers to file. This was after already being the leading candidate in round one of the Romanian elections, which were annulled. Now they intend to prevent him. He's being barred from running altogether. In Germany, the Alternative for Deutschland, although they had 20% of the vote and 30% in some areas, they're not allowed to be part of any government coalition. And then in Moldova, you have the candidate Evgeny Gutul, who has been also now arrested. So apparently, if you don't want a war with Russia, if you don't think it's worth spending billions of euros to have war when you could be investing in energy and infrastructure and healthcare, you should be silenced and arrested. Now, I wish I could say the situation in the United States were better, but here it's taking a different form, which is the assault on the free speech, not of illegal migrants, but of legal students who are here on a visa or even with a green card, in some case, a class valedictorian, a PhD student, who happened to write an op-ed condemning Bibi Netanyahu's wholesale genocide against the Palestinian people of Gaza, also the West Bank. This definitely doesn't bode well. And I would like to say that if you have to resort to silencing, arresting people because their opinion does not go along with the chosen policy of a government, that means that the government is weak, not strong. And the truth of the situation will absolutely emerge. The case of Lyndon LaRouche, who was a presidential candidate 8 times in the United States, really set the precedent for this. I joined his campaign in 1987, 1988, right after he'd been indicted by none other than Robert Mueller. And this was following a vicious smear campaigning in the press where he was called right-wing extremist, left-wing extremist, Nazi, communist, homophobe, anti-women's rights, pro-Catholic, anti-Catholic, everything that you can think of. LaRouche was labeled, and that was done. So when they cooked up a flimsy case against him on conspiracy charges, or the first case in Boston that fell apart, and moved it and gave people sentences of 3 years to 86 years, people would say, well, I think the sentence is excessive, but they're really bad anyway, so I'm not going to worry about it. LaRouche was a presidential candidate. It's time for governments who claim to be democratic to respect the opinions of their citizens, to hear what their citizens think, and to allow people to elect those whom they believe will faithfully represent them. And I am quite sure that these actions, both in Europe and the United States, are going to end up backfiring terribly on those people who are imposing them and attempting to silence us.